Right, now we're going to look for equations regarding those specific parts systems. So if we have an object on a slope and there's no movement, then all we have is Fg and Fn. In this occasion, Fg is equal to negative Fn. That's if we take up as negative and down as positive. Right, the negative just means that it's acting in the opposite direction. Now, if we have a object and it's being applied a force and there is a force of friction, but there's still no movement, okay, this time friction is equal to the applied force and Fg is still equal to Fn, so Fg is still equal to negative Fn, but Fa is equal to negative Fs. Okay, this is where things start getting a little bit more interesting. Okay, so if we have that object but we have an applied force acting up at an angle theta, right? It still has a force of gravity acting down, it's still on the surface, so there's still Fn and there's still going to be Fs because there's no movement. Alright, but this time the interesting part is that yes, we can break this down into its components. So therefore the Fax is equal to negative Fs. That is fine because that is Fax over there. But we have Fay over here acting up and Fax acting right. So in the end, Fg is actually going to be equal to negative Fn plus Fay. Negative over there. What does this all mean? Well, if we draw the free body diagram into its components, it makes a bit of sense. If this is Fax, then we can say that we have Fs opposite, those two are equal. Fg going down, and the only two forces left are Fn and Fay. Now, these two forces must equal the magnitude of that force, due to the fact that the object is not moving up, nor is it moving down. It is no movement still. So that is why we get this type of identity. Now, that just means that the force that is normal is actually going to be less than the gravitational force. Okay, let's have a look at an example where the normal force would actually be greater. So if there's an object and there's a force that is applied, but it's a pushing force down, right, that means if we have Fs again, Fg and Fn, that means we still have Fax, we still have Fs, but this time, because this is pushing down, the downward component is a combination of both Fg and Fay, leaving Fn alone by the top. That means this time Fn is much greater than Fg, whereas on this side Fn is much smaller than Fg due to the components. So Fn is equal to Fg plus Fay. Okay, negative, there we go. So that is this objects which are on a flat plane.